Hey, Lynnie, common sense health expert and spiritual mentor. And I am just going to share with you some things that I have studied as it relates to, really as it relates to, I don't know if you can see this if it's backwards, but it is the Master Key System by Charles Hannell. And it is such an amazing book, but a lot of people find it very difficult to read and understand it and apply the concepts. And I did, because I started reading this book many, many years ago. And you can see it's dog-eared and a lot of pieces that are really important. And I have to say that the one of the best parts, not the best, but what is probably the most powerful is you understanding your own power, and that you are unlimited, and it is only your conditioning, what you have been taught through the years, and it's limited thinking. Like the mind, the human mind, can be limited, and therefore we limit ourselves. But you are unlimited, because you can tap into that universal mind, and which is infinite and has all answers, everything. If you've ever heard of, I read the Akashic Records. So going into the Akashic Records, it's literally anyone can tap into that energy. It's universal mind in varying degrees, if you will. It's how I see it. So I'm just going to share what I have studied, and this book, one of the probably the most powerful part when you start reading it, and this one is missing this piece for some reason, and it's where I kind of got lost many years ago. But the whole thing starts with, would you bring into your life more power? Get the power consciousness. More health? Get the health consciousness. More happiness? Get the happy consciousness. Live the spirit of these things until they become yours by right. It will then become impossible to keep them from you. The things of the world are fluid to a power within man by which he rules them. So that is kind of like a power punch of what this book is really all about. It's how to get there. And it's not just this book, it's most likely any law of attraction, teacher, mentor, guide. It's just so much more than the law of attraction. For me, it is the law of harmony. When you are living in harmony with universal law, you are no longer opposing things. Doesn't mean that things don't come up for you, and that goes into a deeper conversation. Yet you're still, when you live in harmony, there's so much more that comes to you, and it's really fun. Like this whole journey has been incredibly delightful, and in the overall, because sometimes it's just gets so deep, and you think, well, can I really do that? And then you go back to move into that consciousness. And so what does that mean? I wrote down a couple of notes, because literally what it's like how to shift into the consciousness of what it is you desire. So you want better health, right? You want more wealth. You want to be more financially secure. You want a better relationship, or you want a relationship. You're looking for someone. I mean, these are basic human. What we want to be happy. We want to feel content, and we want to feel joyful. Those things feel good to us. So those vibrate at a higher frequency, and so when we're vibrating at these high frequencies of love, compassion, joy, all of these things that make us feel good, that is your inner guide showing you that you are aligned. And when there's, and I'm going to take out the part, when you are not feeling, when something doesn't feel right, it actually feels wrong in your body. It's not just wrong in your heart. It's because you're out of alignment. You're not living in harmony. And so you're either living in lack, there's something you feel you don't have, and if you only had that, it would make you happy. Or if that person only would just like you would be happy because you're, trying to change someone to make yourself happy. We really need to take a deep dive into ourselves, which I find fascinating. Taking a deep dive into myself was, it was fascinating, but it wasn't fun. And sometimes it's not fun. I really started diving into and I'm not going to go into this fully, but you have probably heard of this because it was created in the 60s, the drama triangle, and the rescuer, persecutor, and the victim. And I recognized where I was being a persecutor, and oh my gosh, who wants to be a bully with my husband? And I was like, wow. I went to him, I was like, I am so sorry. And it was just, places in my inside of me. I mean, these are just parts of us, right? We're just full of infinite parts of our personality, and where we've been hurt before, or we have, there's just different things about what we're doing that is very difficult. We've been conditioned or trained, or we have expectations and they're not fulfilled, or we want something or someone to change so that we can be happy. That is never the answer. The answer is always going inside, because inside is where you can, from the Bible, where the Father dwells. Just inside is where the light is. That is your inner compass. And that is a very difficult thing for a lot of people to do, especially, I remember I literally hated myself, and I tried to commit suicide many times, several times, but anyway, I hated myself. And I really thought this world, my family, my daughter, my husband, my siblings, and my parents, like the whole world would be a better place if I were not here in it. I would be doing the world a favor. Now, what mindset, if you look at the drama triangle, I was a victim. Poor me, I'm not good enough. Everybody else is better than me. And I wouldn't have said it that way, and I probably would have been offended if somebody would have pointed it out to me. But I really thought that I was not good enough, and that I wasn't good enough to be loved or cared for or cared about, and it was very difficult. And so what consciousness was I in? I was vibrating at a very low frequency. And so I definitely did not have the health consciousness. And so I shifted. And it took a near-death experience in order for me to shift into that health consciousness, which I did. And it's, and it's beautiful when you can do it. And so how do you move shift into that consciousness? Because it's not an easy thing to do, like, oh, well, now I'm healthy. Well, I think for me, what happened was you start by understanding, or at least be willing to understand or consider your unlimited potential, and that you are conditioned, and that there's a law of potentiality. All probabilities, all possibilities exist. It's unlimited, it's infinite. And so if that is true, if you agree that that is true, and or at least if you're willing to look at that as the possibility of being true, because whatever is true to you, that's your belief, and that's where you're going to be vibrating, and that's what you will be attracting to you. So it's not even attraction, it's just that's where those things live. You can look at things as frequencies. I don't want to get off this topic, but if you're vibrating at happiness, it's like you're so happy, you're going to be like surrounded with, you're going to see the world is pretty, and the vibrant colors, and everything's going to be wonderful. If you are vibrating at like really low frequencies, so like anger, distrust, and just not feeling happy, and you don't like your life, and everything's bad, and then what are you going to find more of? you're going to be more into the people, the places, the situations, conditions, circumstances. That's what you're going to bring into your life, because that's where those things vibrate. That's where those things live, at that frequency. So it's not so much about attracting. I remember when I was studying with Landria Anka, and she talked about that, and I thought, that's exactly what it is, because you're not, it's not, it's like attracts like. So you could say it that way, but I really could see that those things vibrating at that higher frequency or lower frequency, or wherever you are in that frequency range, that's where those things vibrate. So so this is why you want to move into that consciousness and that shift. So if you believe that all possibilities and all probabilities exist, then you can let's just talk about getting the health consciousness, right? So you want to release weight. You don't want to lose weight. One, that's a mindset of lack. and you're not lacking weight if you're trying to lose weight. Ask me, I know. And so, and you don't want to lose it, because then you might find it again. So you want to release weight, and you want to move into the consciousness of a healthy person. So what does a healthy person do? A healthy person, they eat right. Meaning they eat things that are of nature. I mean, just look at what a healthy person does. Do they go eat McDonald's every day, or do they eat chips and I don't know. I mean, are they do things that are closer to nature. So if they eat meat, then they eat animals that are grass-fed and pasture-raised eggs, and if they're plant-based, or even if they're both, wherever they're eating things close to nature. So you look at, and they're moving their bodies, they're exercising, they're not sitting in front of the TV watching, Netflix or something all day long, and soap operas, and they're actually, they get out and they move, and they have they're happier, because one, their bodies feel good, they feel fit. And I'm not saying they're happier, like everybody that's fit is happier, but it's that if you're looking at a person and they overall look happy, they feel happy, and what is that person in your mind? What do they look like? So they're thinking happy, positive thoughts, like, I can go to the gym, I can release weight, I can get stronger muscles, I can have a better digestive system, I can think higher minded thoughts. Like, it's because it's all emotional, physical, and spiritual. It's all of it. It's mental, all of it emotional. So you just start to think how a person would feel like that, and you start moving yourself that direction. And that is the same thing with financial. How does a financial person, a wealthy person, how do they act? This is a planet of action. So whether you're trying to release weight or find the perfect relationship, I mean, you literally have to take action. And what is it that you want to do? And that's really where you start, like, what is it that you want to be, you want to move into, you want to become. And so that healthy consciousness, and back to the master key system, that's really what it's saying, is just shift into that consciousness, because all possibilities, all probabilities exist, and you are not exempt, nor am I. I can be or do anything I want to be. I'm not talking about being 6 foot tall during this lifetime, because I would never, I don't think I could do enough yoga or centrics to pull my spine that far. But that's not a limitation. That's a vehicle that I chose coming to planet Earth. So I'm talking about your ability to have the life that you truly desire, to travel, to have the financial abundance that you want to have, and the home that you want to live in, and all of those things. You are absolutely unlimited in that potential. And it literally is as simple as, I'm not going to say easy, because our minds are very conditioned from the time we grew up. For the most part, most of us are not taught, you are unlimited, you can do anything you want. Although my mother told me that all the time. She was like, you can do anything you want. then you run into other things that are definitely you're limited and you're not good enough or this or that. So there's a lot of confusion, and so I'm hoping that this would be interesting to you. You know, the master key system, and I'm going to talk about it in a way because to me, I was thinking about, I just want to ease into 2023, and it just sounds so good. And the way to ease into 23 is to live in harmony. And it's not about rhyming. But it's literally because it's when you are in flow with your life and things are, and you create it, like you create your own reality. So this is going a little longer than I wanted to, but I wanted to just start by reintroducing myself, and so that where I'm coming from, and to just share with you that I'm what I am sharing is what I have studied and what I am seeing for myself to be true, and how I have changed my life in so many ways, and continually evolving, shifting, expanding, and really finding the flow and living in harmony. And I'm not going to say that I have the perfect life, and because it's actually, I feel I'm very happy with my life, but there's still things that I'm working on, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the journey because it's the journey. It's not when you get to the end. It's not the goal. It's nice to have goals and goalposts and all of those things because those help us to keep moving. This is a planet of action, as we discussed. So we do have to take action, but it's not the end point. It's not the destination. It's the day by day. It's the moment by moment. It's the choices we have. We always have free will to choose, and we have options. We always have choices. We always have options, always. And we always get to decide what our thinking is, what the next thing we're going to put in our mouth. Is it going to be healthy? Is it going to help us? Is it going to help our cells to be nourished and then divide and be clean cells? Or is it going to hurt us? Is it, and then the same thing, like what are we going to put on our bodies? Are we going to put toxins and pesticides and chemicals? Are we going to eat pesticides and chemicals? It's all choices, and it's all like for every moment. And so in that now moment, that's what the now moment is. There's only now, and you have choices and options every single moment, just like every single one of us does. So back to the master key system, that shifting into that consciousness, that's the key. It's understanding that you have unlimited potential, you have unlimited power, and there are unlimited possibilities and probabilities, and you can be or do absolutely anything that you put your focus on, put your mind to, because your mind, and I'm going to go into, I don't totally understand this enough to really speak to it. Ken Rolla speaks to the mind as being scalar energy, because I absolutely understand that the mind is very, very powerful, and thoughts are literally things, and that's that energy that I do understand. But the scalar energy part is like that. That's amazing to me. All this, the ability to prove these things, scientifically, I think that's fascinating. So for today, I just invite you to think about living more in harmony, and to where you feel good. I want you to feel good about, I want you to feel special, and because you are, as Greg Braden talks about, that literally we have, he doesn't say it this way, but we have the God code in our DNA, and someday I'll figure out how to say it the way he says it, but we have God in our DNA, and that's scientifically proven. And I find that, I just find it fascinating, which then tells me that we have the blueprint of God in us. So we are not limited. The potential, the probability all exist to infinite things that we cannot even fathom in our human minds, which is why meditation is so amazing, because then we can go to that place of really feeling and knowing. Meditation is one way, but meditation, there's so many ways to meditate, like just sitting outside and looking. I'll show you my view. Maybe, I don't know if you can see it. I just turned it around, so I don't know. I'm looking at the mountains. This is the home we're building. And so I have no idea if you could see that, but anyway, the point is, when you go inside, that's the meditation. When you feel the joy, when you feel your own power, when you shift into the consciousness of that which you desire, and when it feels good, when it feels right, not as opposed to right or wrong, when it feels right, meaning you feel aligned, that's living in harmony. That's moving in flow and with ease, not only into 23, although that sounds really fun and good, but it's just starting somewhere. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will be back to discuss more. I'm trying to figure out a schedule for like what works best and when I can upload things, because we're in the mountains and sometimes my connection isn't very good. So I'm thinking like Tuesdays is a really good time to upload early in the morning or something. If I'm able to with a signal. We're working on that, but just to get it up on YouTube and to various platforms that I have. So thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me, and I hope that you'll come back each week and see what gems that together we can move ourselves forward, that are based on not so much the master key system, but just the unlimitedness of what we really are. We are light beings, and it's beautiful. We are beautiful. And in this book, it will say one man who was a boy and wasn't, he was going to be crippled for life. The words in the book, this book I think it was 1920s when it was written, and in that the boy would tell himself, I am whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. And he moved through that affirmation into the consciousness of being whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. And guess what? He stood tall and strong and as a man, and he had a wonderful life. So I just want to share that little story with you to end this, just to show you that you are unlimited in your health, your wealth, your relationships, and all things humanness, and that you as a human are incredibly special with the DNA of God. Or I should say the code of God in your DNA, according to Greg Braden, which I absolutely love that. So I hope you love that too, because that makes me feel special. All right, cutie butt, I love you so much, and thank you for watching.